Hi everyone, Suzina here. I'm going to tell you about two products. One of them is the Journal of SWTOR, available in the collector's edition, and the other one is not in the collector's edition. It is the Star Wars The Old Republic Explorer's Guide to the Galaxy. So, between these two products, which one is the better book? Let's check it out. Okay, I'm going to handy cam this, and first off, let's look at the Journal of SWTOR. This one does not come separately. It's sold with the actual collector's edition, which is very nice. It's a very nice feeling book. It's a very in-universe book too. Everything in it is role play, and it's just a lot of lore and a lot of story and a lot of history. There's actually quite a bit to read here that's not in the timeline videos, and you'll find that it's actually pretty timeless. Unlike other collector's edition books, which give bad advice that will be outdated in 6 months, this one actually just kind of focuses on the story and the setting, and it will remain good regardless. It has a couple of inserts in it as well. The inserts are kind of crappy. The Tree of Coruscant. I didn't see this one before. So, an insert for the Treaty of Coruscant, or an insert for a layout of the Jedi Temple, or a layout of the Battle of Bathui, you know, that kind of thing. So, those things are just okay. But, overall, a very high quality, very nice product worth displaying on your shelf. Now, I'm only reviewing that as a comparison to this standalone. It's sold separately, and it's really just bad, to be honest. It's you know, it looks nice and all. Now it pretty much just has a lot of maps in it. That's the main thing it has. At the very beginning, it has a few pages of things about characters and their you know, the different classes, but it's laid out very poorly. The editing is done very badly. For example, on this page, we see a bunch of stuff about strengths and weaknesses, but those things are for the bounty hunter on a page that clearly says Imperial Agent. So they should have really either put Imperial Agent on its own page on the next page, or you know, something like that. They should be on their own pages, and they do this often. And including in the very back of the concept art, you'll see that oftentimes the concept art takes up half of a page, maybe like a little bit more of a page. Like, this is just not the proper way to view this concept art. They should have either shrunk this particular concept art down, or they should have just gone ahead and, you know, made it a 2-pager, but this kind of like in the middle thing is pretty terrible. And, you know, it's the same concept art that you would see on the website. I don't recognize any that are new. They all look like ones I've seen before, but I've been following this game for a long time. Some of them I haven't seen in a very long time. Some of them are very old concept art. But, you know, it's okay to have in there, I guess, to leaf through on your, you know, coffee table or what have you. The main meat, because this is a fairly thick book. If you look at the size difference, that's pretty thick. It's actually just a bunch of maps, and the maps are not very good. For example, like here, this map is just covered with little icons, with little numbers, and all of them just correspond to enemies. So, you know, it's, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that information, that, oh, there's enemies hanging out there. There's enemies pretty much everywhere. So what it ends up doing when they put enemies on the maps, it crowds up the map and makes it like impossible for you to see anything. Like if you look at a map of, say, Korriban, the whole map is covered with like with just enemies all over it, and you can't see the datacrons. Moreover, when they do show where the datacrons are, they don't tell you how to get to them. Many of these datacrons require 2 people to get to. Many times you need to come from a certain angle to get to at the datacrons. So all the little icons that are crowding it out, they are terrible, and they don't tell you how to get to the datacrons, which would be one of the main reasons to get something like this. So it's too much information, and at the same time not enough information. And that's most of the guide, is these maps. The maps are the blue monochrome, the same that you would find in-game. They're completely ripped from the game. So they don't really even take like an aerial screenshot or anything like that. This is just something someone could do at home online with their, I don't know, screenshot button while opening the map. They do have the galaxy map in here in a nicer fashion than a little fold out that came in the collector's edition. And they show you where each planet is, but overall, there's not much here. The points of interest is actually okay, but there's some wrong information in there, some typos as well. It's just edited very poorly. Speaking of wrong information, though, the class introductions have a lot of wrong information. Just stuff that will make you dumber as a person if you read it. So, for example, let's say Sith Inquisitor. Strengths and weaknesses. Okay, it says weaknesses for the Sith Inquisitor are melee combat. It doesn't say that's a weakness of the Sorcerer, which it is. It's just a Sith Inquisitor. So even if you go an assassin whose main spec is melee combat, you are very bad at ranged if you if you go as an assassin advanced class as a sorcerer. This guide will tell you that you're bad at melee damage. So it seems like it was written by someone who didn't play the game, just sort of like went based off assumptions. Oh, they wear light armor, they wear robes, they've got to be bad at melee combat. And there's all kinds of mistakes on that. Like, I don't know, strengths and weaknesses. Like for, look at this one. Can solo well. That's a strength of one of the classes. Every class can solo, really. And they're saying Imperial Agent is a class that can solo well. All the classes can solo well. And Imperial Agent is just one of them. So it seems like the tips they give you in this book just seem to be randomly selected. They do put a little bit of role play and, you know, kind of like hype into their things. Like they say, oh, make sure to bring water on Tatooine so you don't get exhausted from thirst exhaustion. But obviously there's no gameplay mechanic that has you need to bring water. So that's just role play. And if you want role play stuff, Journal of Nostral does it way, 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 way better because it's an in-universe item that's role playing story all the way throughout. So that's my review of this book. I just thought I would throw that out there. Overall, the Explorer's Guide, there's not much reason to pick it up unless you basically get everything. So unless, you know, you get everything, literally, like you're getting the statues, you're getting the collector's editions, you just want to have everything, then maybe you would pick this one up. There is some merit to it as a collector's item just because there's not that many of them. At least not that I found. I went to Walmart, I couldn't find one. I went to GameStop, and the first one I went to, they had only one copy and they had already sold it. The next GameStop I went to finally had a copy. So not a lot of these were put out as far as I can tell. That's just based off of my own experience of trying to find one at the stores, but it's also not very good. So there you go. You know, your money is better spent elsewhere. And that's my review. So until next time, take care.